I am sitting in my small studio apartment, staring across the street at the luxury condos I could never afford. The irony is not lost on me. For 2 years, I have been the family ATM funding everyone else's lifestyle while they mock my modest living situation. They call me broke behind my back, laugh about my thrift store clothes, yet their hands are always extended when bills come due. What they do not know is that I have finally reached my breaking point. I have made a decision that will change everything, and frankly, I cannot wait to see their faces when reality hits. Before I tell you about this quiet revolution of mine, let me know what city you are watching from in the comments below. And please hit that like button if you have ever felt undervalued by your own family. Do not forget to subscribe because I have plenty more real stories like this one coming your way. Now let me take you back to 3 months ago when everything was completely different. Let me paint you a picture of my family dynamics. My parents retired early at 58 and 55, respectively, living off a combination of pension and investments. My older sister, Sophia, is 32 and works sporadically as a freelance photographer, while my younger brother Marcus is 25 and supposedly attending community college. Then there is me, Bo, the 28-year-old software engineer who somehow became the family's financial safety net. After graduating from Georgia Tech with a computer science degree, I landed a decent position at a growing tech startup here in Atlanta. My salary of $75,000 a year is nothing spectacular, but it is steady income in a family where steady income seems to be a rare commodity. What started as occasional help 2 years ago has evolved into a monthly obligation that I never explicitly agreed to. Every month, like clockwork, I cover Dad's blood pressure medication at $320 and Mom's diabetes prescription at $280. Insurance covers most of it, but their deductibles and copays add up fast. Then there are the emergency requests from Sophia when her photography gigs fall through and the tuition assistance for Marcus when financial aid falls short. I keep telling myself it is temporary, that I am helping my family get back on their feet. The call that changed everything came on a Tuesday evening in March. I was reviewing code on my laptop when my phone buzzed with Mom's familiar ringtone. "Bo, honey, I need you to cover the mortgage payment this month," she said, without preamble, her voice carrying that urgent tone I had grown to dread. The mortgage payment was $1,800. Dad's pension was supposedly running short that month, she explained, and they needed someone to bridge the gap just this once. I hesitated mentally, calculating my bank balance. I had already paid $600 for their medications earlier in the week, leaving my emergency fund dangerously low at just $400. "Mom, that is a lot of money." "I've been covering a lot of expenses lately," I said carefully, not wanting to sound ungrateful or selfish. "Oh, sweetie, we know you are tight on money, but we are family. We would do the same for you," she replied, her voice softening into that maternal tone that always made me feel guilty for questioning anything. Against my better judgment, I agreed. I transferred the money from my personal emergency savings, the account I had been building for my own future. Mom promised she would pay me back the following week, though she did not specify exactly how or when. The following weekend, I received an invitation to Sunday dinner, something that had become less frequent over the past few months. I showed up in my usual attire, a worn polo shirt and jeans that had seen better days, expecting maybe a quiet acknowledgement of my help with the mortgage. Instead, I walked into what felt like a celebration I had not been invited to participate in. Dad was opening an $80 bottle of wine, explaining to everyone how he had been saving it for a special occasion. Mom was showing off a new bracelet to my aunt over FaceTime, mentioning casually that it cost $150, but was absolutely worth it for the craftsmanship. I sat at the dinner table picking at the expensive salmon they had prepared, listening to conversation that made my stomach turn. Sophia was on the phone with her boyfriend in the living room, and I could not help but overhear her casual comment about me. "Yeah, my little brother is still struggling financially. living paycheck to paycheck. It is kind of sad, actually, but we all have our own paths, you know. Marcus, scrolling through his phone, looked up and added with a laugh, "Dude has been wearing the same 3 shirts for 2 years. I keep telling him to invest in some new clothes, but I guess when money is tight, priorities are different." I felt like someone had punched me in the stomach. Here I was, having just paid their mortgage while sacrificing my own financial security, and they were discussing my financial struggles like I was some charity case they were unfortunately related to. I finished dinner in silence, excused myself early, and drove home with my hands shaking on the steering wheel. That night, I lay in bed staring at the ceiling, replaying the evening over and over. Something fundamental had shifted in my understanding of my relationship with my family, and I did not like what I was beginning to see. The following week, I decided to stop by my parents' house unannounced. I needed to have a conversation about the mortgage payment and when I could expect to be reimbursed. What I discovered instead was far more disturbing than I had anticipated. Parked in their garage was a gleaming BMW sedan that I had never seen before. When I asked Dad about it, he casually mentioned they were test driving it, considering an upgrade from their current vehicle. The salesman had been very accommodating, letting them take it for an extended period. Inside the house, I noticed Mom hurriedly shuffling papers on the kitchen counter when I walked in. I caught a glimpse of a Nordstrom receipt for $400 before she could slide it under a magazine. When I asked about it, she brushed it off as just a few necessities she had been putting off buying. That evening, my suspicions deepened when I checked social media. Sophia had posted an Instagram story from what looked like an expensive spa resort, complete with champagne glasses and plush robes. The caption read, "Self-care weekend with Mom. Girls deserve this." The timestamp showed it was posted the exact same week Mom claimed they could not afford the mortgage payment. I felt my blood pressure rising as I scrolled further. Marcus had posted pictures from the Apple Store, proudly showing off his brand new iPhone 14 Pro, complete with all the accessories and a premium case. The retail value had to be close to $1,200. I could not sleep that night. Every piece of evidence pointed to the same conclusion: my family was not struggling financially. They were living quite comfortably, funding their lifestyle with my money, while simultaneously mocking my modest living situation behind my back. The next morning, I called Mom directly. I needed to understand what was happening. "Mom, I saw Sophia's posts from the spa resort. That looked expensive," I said, trying to keep my tone neutral. "Oh," that she replied, immediately defensive. "That was a gift from Sophia. We barely spend anything on ourselves. You know that. We have been so frugal lately. What about Marcus's new phone? And the BMW in your garage?" Her tone shifted, becoming colder. "Marcus needs that phone for school. All his classmates have the latest technology, and we do not want him to feel left out. As for the car, we are just looking. There is nothing wrong with window shopping." When I brought up the mortgage payment and asked when I could expect to be paid back, the conversation took an even more unpleasant turn. "We thought you would be more generous with your family, Bo. When you are more established financially, you will understand how family priorities work," she said. Dad must have been listening on the extension because he chimed in with his own perspective. "Son, family comes first. We raised you with good values, and part of those values is taking care of the people who took care of you." The call ended with Mom delivering what felt like a deliberate guilt trip. "Do not be so selfish, Bo. We are not asking for much, just a little help during a rough patch. Family is supposed to support each other." I hung up feeling like I was losing my mind. Was I being unreasonable? Was I actually selfish for questioning where my money was going? The gaslighting was so subtle and effective that I started doubting my own perceptions. But the final straw came just 1 week later. Marcus called me on a Friday afternoon, his voice panicked and urgent. "Bo, I need $500 immediately. My car broke down, and I need it fixed before Monday for work," he said. Despite my growing suspicions, family loyalty won out. I agreed to transfer the money, but asked to see the repair invoice just for my own records. Instead of a receipt, I received something far more damaging. A mutual friend from college tagged me in a Facebook post that evening. The photo showed Marcus at a downtown casino with several friends, poker chips stacked in front of him, a huge grin on his face. The caption read, "Marcus hitting it big tonight thanks to family money." When I called Marcus to confront him, his response was stunning in its audacity. "Look, it is my money once you give it to me. I do not have to justify how I spend it. Stop being so controlling," he said. Before I could respond, I heard Sophia's voice in the background. Apparently, this had become a conference call without my knowledge. "Bo, you are being incredibly dramatic about this. Marcus works hard at school and deserves to have some fun sometimes. Not everyone can be as boring and uptight as you," she said. The two of them tag-teamed me for the next 10 minutes, attacking everything from my apartment size to my career choice. Marcus called me a code monkey living in a studio apartment, while Sophia suggested I was jealous of their social lives because I never do anything fun. "You act like you are some big shot, but let us be honest, you are just barely getting by yourself. Maybe focus on your own financial situation before judging how other people spend money," Sophia concluded. I ended the call without saying another word, but inside I was burning with a rage I had never experienced toward my own family. The people who were supposed to love and support me were systematically taking advantage of my generosity while actively undermining my self-worth. That night, I made a decision that would change everything. 3 months later, the situation had escalated to a breaking point. Dad needed knee surgery, not immediately life-threatening, but something that would improve his mobility and quality of life. The insurance deductible was $3,000, and somehow this had become my problem to solve. My family arranged what they called a family meeting at my parents' house on a Sunday afternoon. I walked in to find everyone already seated around the dining room table, like I was about to face a tribunal. Sophia opened the discussion with characteristic bluntness. "We need to talk about your contribution to Dad's surgery. We have all been discussing it, and since you are the only one with a steady paycheck, it makes sense for you to cover the majority of the cost." Marcus nodded in agreement. "Besides, $3,000 is not that much for someone making your salary. We know you can afford it even if you like to pretend you are struggling." Mom and Dad sat quietly, letting my siblings speak for them, which somehow made the whole situation even more infuriating. They were content to let their children shake me down while maintaining plausible deniability about the whole arrangement. "I have already contributed over $14,000 to this family in the past year," I said, trying to keep my voice steady. "Between medications, emergency loans, and bills, I have been supporting everyone while trying to build my own financial stability." Sophia laughed. Actually laughed at my response. $14,000. That is what family is for, Bo. Besides, it is not like you have any major expenses. You live in a tiny apartment and drive a 10-year-old car. Where else would that money go? Maybe if he learned how to budget properly. Instead of wasting money on rent for that shoebox apartment, he would have more available for family emergencies." Marcus added, his tone dripping with condescension. I looked around the room, taking in my surroundings with fresh eyes. The 75-inch television mounted on the wall was definitely new since my last visit. Mom's massage chair in the corner still had the price tag partially visible, showing a retail cost of over $2,000. Dad's Rolex, the one he claimed was a retirement gift to himself, caught the light as he reached for his coffee. All of this luxury purchased while I had been covering their basic expenses and supposedly helping them through financial difficulties. The cognitive dissonance was staggering. Sophia continued her lecture, turning to Mom as if I was not even present. Maybe if he learned to manage money better, instead of living paycheck to paycheck, he could contribute more meaningfully to family needs. It is honestly embarrassing sometimes. That was the moment something inside me snapped. I stood up slowly, feeling a strange calm wash over me, despite the fury building in my chest. Everyone looked at me expectantly. probably assuming I was about to agree to pay for the surgery. I have been thinking about this situation for months now, I said, my voice quieter than usual, but carrying absolute conviction. And I have come to a decision that I should have made a long time ago. Starting Monday morning, I will no longer be paying for anyone's medications bills, emergency expenses, or medical procedures. That includes Dad's surgery. The silence that followed was deafening. You could have heard a pin drop in that dining room. You cannot be serious, Mom finally whispered, her face going pale. I am completely serious. I am 28 years old, and I have been funding your comfortable lifestyle while you mock my apartment, my clothes, and my financial situation behind my back. I am done being your personal ATM. Dad found his voice first, his face flushing red with anger. This is not how we raised you, son. Family takes care of family. What has gotten into you, what has gotten into me, is the realization that family should respect family. You want $3,000 for surgery. Sell the BMW that you have been test driving for 3 months. Return Mom's $2,000 massage chair. Ask Sophia to skip a few spa weekends. Sophia stood up, pointing her finger at me accusingly. You are being incredibly selfish and immature. Dad needs this surgery, and you are choosing money over family. Good luck maintaining any relationship with this family after this, Marcus added, shaking his head in disgust. I walked toward the front door, then turned back to face them one final time. The weight of 2 years of financial manipulation and emotional abuse felt like it was lifting from my shoulders with each word I spoke. For the past 2 years, I have sacrificed my own financial security, my own future, my own peace of mind, for people who see me as nothing more than a bank account with legs. I have listened to you call me